Hello everybody, my name's Chris and welcome to Retro Ratchet. So today we're going to find out, is the TVR Chimera the best sounding V8 ever made? So I hope you all enjoy it and stay tuned to find out what it's like. Story behind this one, 10 years ago I bought it as a project. We done a full body off restoration on it, replaced all the suspension bushes and anything else that we found that was worn on the way. We replaced outriggers and various other bits on the chassis. If you want to find out a little bit more about the restoration of this one, click that link in the description. So today I'm fortunate enough to actually get the car and get it out on the roads and do a proper review on it. Right guys, on to the exciting bit. How does it drive? And are you in for a treat today? So if you've never driven one of these before, they are a real sports car. You know, there's no driver aids, there's no ABS, no traction control to get you out of trouble. If you're messing about, you will just put it off the road. So you do have to be very careful. But it is a very back to basics two-seater sports car. You sit very, very low down. The pedals are quite far away and the steering wheel's quite close. On this one we have power steering fitted. The steering is super direct. You've got great feedback what is going on under those front wheels, and the steering itself, it's very, very short geared, you know, so a small input takes the car quite a long way. The other TVR that I owned, the 4.3, that had non-power steering, which was great on roads like this, but when you were manoeuvring around town, it wasn't quite as pleasant. It took quite a lot to actually get the car turning. Right, so for those of you not familiar with the Chimeras, so these are fitted with the venerable old Rover V8, which was originally a Buick V8, so roughly the same block that's in the Rover SD1 that I own. This particular one is a 4 litre. I think they were reported when new to put out in the region of 240, 245 brake, which may or may not have been a slight exaggeration. I think they generally put out about 220, 230-ish. Very torquey, they sound lovely, they don't rev out that much as you would expect from an old V8. But what you have to bear in mind is these are very, very light. I think they're just over 1,000 kilos. So a big torquey V8 and 1,000 kilos, you know, you make good progress. But with these, rather than it being about outright pace, it's about the driving experience. The noise, the steering, the handling, how low you're sitting. And in my opinion, they're more than fast enough. Right, so that's the car warmed up now. So we'll give it some beans, see what you think. So I mean, it totally flies. You know, that was second gear there. You see the pull in that. I think it's actually really quick. It's faster than I recollect. But then I've been driving about in the Volvo, haven't I? The driving position in these I find is really good. You know, you just reach over there. It's a very short throw on the gears. The box is just below you. It's a T5 box from memory. But yeah, it's direct into the box, that change. So yeah, nice and precise. Can be a little bit notchy sometimes in the first, but that all adds to the character, I think. But we'll not be playing about in roundabouts on it today. Get a nice little rumble on overrun, so it's not too loud, the exhaust in this, you don't get a whole load of droning. These are the type of roads that a car like this is really designed for. But as you can see, you really don't need to rev it out to have fun. You just use that torque to pull it along. So the ride is quite firm, as you would imagine. All the suspension was replaced on this, so there's no creaks or bangs or anything like that. They do handle like they're on rails, to be fair. It can be dependent on whether you put the original rubber bushes, which actually have less compliance than the type of PowerFlex bushes that you can fit on them. Brakes, I find, are quite predictable in my opinion. There's a short travel till the brakes bite. There is no ABS, so I mean, I have in the past locked these up, if you are a little bit enthusiastic with your braking, but they do brake well. There's various upgrades, pathways you can take with these, just to make the brakes a little bit stronger than standard, but for this type of road use, perfectly fine. One thing I had forgotten about is the clutch. The clutch weighs a ton on these. I've already got a sore left foot. Yeah, the clutch pedal is pretty heavy on these, so if you're going around town, it's not the most pleasant of experiences. Traction's alright on them, obviously no traction control. So in first gear, you will be able to spin up the tyres if you're playing about, and certainly in the wet, they do need a lot of self-control in the wet, because you can end up pointing the other way around if you are playing about in them. But certainly in the dry, I found them perfectly predictable, no issues. I mean, that's pulling away hard there in first, and there's no traction issues. And it just sticks round this roundabout. They are guaranteed to put a smile on your face. But there, we're sitting at just under 2,000 revs in fourth gear, and you floor it, and that's up to 60. Fifth gear is a great cruising gear. We're sitting at 2,000 revs at 60 there, so it's perfect for any of the longer motorway journeys. So for anyone not that familiar with the Chimaera range, there was a few different engine options. There was a 4 litre, which is what this one is. Then there was a 4 litre HC that apparently had about 30 odd more brake. They were meant to be about 275. That was the figures given at the time. I think they revved a little bit better than these. Then there was a 4.3 V8, which I had. Then there was the 4.5 and the 5 litre. The 5 litre was meant to be in the region of, I think, 315 or something, but they generally put out a good bit less than that. I think they were high 200s. Put in the comments if you have a 500, what's made in standard form on a rolling road. That would be interesting. Now, visibility in these, it's actually pretty good. You've got a plastic back screen there. I mean, with the roof off, it's even better. But you can see around you, you're not sitting too low. So I think it's pretty decent. I do recall, I have driven many miles in these in the past. So they're reasonably okay for long journeys. There you go. Listen to that overrun. I don't know if the mic's picking that up. There you go. There. What do you think of that then? There you go, I've got it now. Just under 3,000 RPM if you lift off. There you go, beautiful. That nice torquey power delivery is just so pleasant to drive. In some ways these are hard work driving them. You've got the heavy clutch, you need to be on the ball, especially in the wet, so they're hard work that way, but then in other ways with all that torque, it just pulls it along the road cleanly. Right, we'll do a wee first gear pull up here. We'll get it straight first, of course. Really smooth, just pulls cleanly up to the speed limit there. You know, no bother at all. Right, so I think it's about time to turn back, or the owner's going to be wondering where I'm going. I was thoroughly enjoying myself there and getting carried away. Let's hear that overrun again. There we go. Right, so what are my impressions after 10 years of not driving a TVR Chimera? Firstly, would I have another one? Yes. Don't tell the missus. But I definitely have another one. Be interesting to maybe try a 450 or a 500. But yeah, I think I've missed this very involved kind of driving experience, you know, where you're putting in a lot of effort. And I don't mean a lot of effort as in welding and repairing them. I mean actually driving them and enjoying driving them on country roads. The soundtrack and stuff, you know. Yeah, I think I would definitely consider another one. The only problem with them is you know, they are hard work if you don't buy one that's been restored. You know, this is obviously had the body off, so I'd probably only consider one that's had a proper restoration in the past, because I don't fancy any more welding. But yeah, just as a great summer car, roof down, the noise. They're not that expensive for what you get, I think. You get a lot of car for the money if you buy one of these, to be fair. The interiors are always trimmed with unusual colour combinations that suit my taste as well. I mean, I love this one. This is a light grey with the kind of the plum carpeting, which I just think is lovely. Really, really suits it. You know, running gear, parts, it is just that Rover V8. You know, they are getting a little bit dearer for engine parts now, but they're not going to break the bank, and they're not that complex to work on and maintain. You just need to keep on top of your suspension bushes and things like that. The bodies are obviously glass fibre as well, so you're not going to get any rust or corrosion there. Dislikes? Well, I don't really know if there's any dislikes as such. In general, like I said earlier, they can be hard work maintenance-wise. If you've bought one that has been neglected and it hasn't been cared for, you end up with a long list of things to repair. The only other thing, if I was getting another one, I think I would be one with a little bit more power. It would be nice to try one like that. The 4.3 had a little bit more power than this one, but not a massive amount. So it's not really a dislike, it's just more an observation. But anyone who's not owned one, buy one before they go up in value, because you know the next thing, they could be 10 grand dearer in a few years' time, and then they're out of that, you know, affordability range for most people. And one of the most likeable things about the TVR is character. They're full of character. They're not refined, they are not perfect. You know, the build quality is all over on them, but that just adds to the character. That's why you would buy a TVR, in my opinion, over the likes of a Porsche. But they do have all the right ingredient. A lovely sounding V8, not too much power, reasonably cheap to maintain, and I think reasonably easy to manage on the roads as well. There's also a great following for TVRs. There's loads of local clubs to get involved in, so there's quite a good social aspect of owning one as well. There's a dislike, that clutch pedal. Another thing I like about it is, you know, this seating position. You're looking along this big long bonnet and the shapes of where the headlamps sit and everything. I think that looks pretty cool. You've got the bonnet vents there as well. I just think it's nice looking forward to seeing that huge bonnet in front of you. Although from those vents you can see a hell of a lot of heat coming out. As long as there's no steam, that's alright.
So guys, is it the best sounding V8? Leave me a comment below and stay tuned for the next review.